Alright, good evening ladies. In today's video, I'm going to go through my Solana exit strategy for this cycle. If you've been following this channel for the last year, all we've been very much focused on is Solana and meme coins, and we've been absolutely crushing it this cycle so far. However, we're getting into that crazy part of the cycle. Bitcoin has broken all-time highs. It has absolutely ripped past all-time highs actually, and Solana is looking like it's about to break its own all-time high as well. So I do think it's too early to start selling right now, but I also think it's very, very wise to have a strategy and an exit plan so you don't end up round tripping all your gains like I've done in the last two cycles. This cycle, I'm very, very much focused on being disciplined and sticking to my game plan. So I'm going to lay out my entire game plan. I've put together a couple of charts here that should help us determine good Solana price targets. Now, do I think should you use price targets? Should you just say, okay, once Solana hits this price, I'm going to sell all my Solana? No, I don't think you should do that whatsoever. Like, try to come up with an accurate price target for an asset like this over the course of a year is like completely impossible because there's so many different factors. It's like trying to predict the weather on July 25th in Dublin, Ireland, which is in like 7 months' time. Are you going to be able to accurately predict what the weather is like on that particular day? No, but you could have a sort of an idea of what it might be like. However, it could be just an extremely rainy day, or it could be an absolute buttcracker of a day. You can't know for sure, but you can have an idea based on previous July 25ths in Dublin, Ireland. So that's what we're kind of trying to do here, come up with our best estimates, but being able to say, okay, Solana should hit this exact price target it's just not possible at all because there's so many different factors that make up that price at the end of the day and how high everything goes. So if you're just joining crypto now, I do think it's probably almost too late to buy Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin maybe has a 2x left in it. However, buying Bitcoin right now, unless you're thinking I'm going to hold this for 5 years or something, or even Solana, I think the window on buying Solana here is closing soon. Me personally, I haven't put any fresh fiat into crypto in like almost a year, and that's my way of kind of taking profits without having to incur any capital gains. Instead of continually DCAing more into the markets, I've just decided all my extra money that I make from my job or from YouTube or whatever, I'm just going to keep that as a savings. So that's like a kind of a way to sell without selling. So I know a lot of people like to DCA into crypto over the course of a long time, but if you already have a nice sizable bag, maybe at some point you need to consider, okay, I'm going to stop my DCA strategy because everything's up so high. There's a likelihood that the price is lower in a couple of years' time, so I'm just going to save the money that I'm earning instead. But if you are just joining crypto now, you probably have to focus on memes if you want to make astounding profits. Now, not everyone wants to do that. Some people will be happy with a 3x return on Solana or a 2x return on Bitcoin, and they'll be able to get in and out. But if you're focused on memes, you need to sell 100% of your memes within a year. So you have to have that in the back of your head. All your meme coins, you have to absolutely, you need to take a little bit of profits on Bitcoin, a little bit of profits on Solana, but you need to completely nuke all your meme coins within a year's time. So all your meme coins have to be sold by the end of 2025. Even your Lux Max, which will probably 1000x from this point, my favorite meme coin, which is really, really low market cap, had quite a nice bit of a pump and is on like 80% retracement right now. Really, really low market cap. Be very, very careful with that. And you can watch my previous video on all the meme coins that I like. That'll probably help you a bit. So for me personally, the way I'm going to play it is the first thing that I'm going to sell is Bitcoin, because as Bitcoin goes up, the potential returns for Bitcoin, once Bitcoin's already 120,000, maybe it could have a 50% increase in a really good scenario or something like that. So that's probably the thing you want to sell first, and start selling slowly, start DCAing out of first, because there's less upside potential. Then the next thing you'd want to be looking at selling is something like Solana or Ethereum or other large/mid caps. And then finally, the meme coins are the things that are going to keep running and running probably towards the latter half of the cycle until the very, very end. And that's kind of the thing you actually want to sell last, but you want to sell all of it. So Solana, you kind of want to gradually exit out of. Same thing with Bitcoin from the start. And then the meme coins and the more risky stuff, you kind of want to wait as long as you can and then just nuke them all. Anyway, that's kind of not what this particular video is about. We're going to be focusing on Solana in particular. Now, do I think Solana has long-term potential past this cycle? Yes, I'm extremely bullish on Solana. I actually think there's a higher likelihood than not that Solana becomes the #1 smart contract platform in the world, and it will overtake Ethereum at some point. And over the long term, I think Solana has a good chance of being that biggest smart contract platform, because I don't really see how much you can improve. Like, can you get a 10x improvement on the UX and usability of Solana? Can you get a 10x improvement on that? You know, Solana's already a really, really good product, and to displace Solana is going to be very, very difficult. So I actually do like the very long-term prospects of Solana. Like, over the next 10 years, I think it could go to like something outrageous, like 10 grand per coin. However, even still, even though I think in long-term Solana is going to be an amazing investment, probably, I'm still going to sell a large portion of it during the next year. So I actually did a video on my Solana targets before, and I was using Solana versus Ethereum, like the Sol ETH ratio, to determine my targets. Now in this video, like, I gave a very bullish target of Sol ETH going to 0.1, which it's already at like 0.07. So it's kind of clear that it's actually going to get to 0.1, and it's probably going to go higher in the cycle. And Ethereum prospects just not looking great at the moment. So I don't think it's the best way to value it. So we'll still have a look at that from before the chart that I made before. However, I've made a new chart that's potentially more useful for our strategy, our DCA out strategy. I will also say that I am quite optimistic and a little bit of a moon boy at times. So it's a good thing to be able to recognize your weakness. And I know my weakness in the past has been greed, and my weakness has been just being a bit too much of a moon boy, thinking, okay, I think it's going to go higher than everyone expects. So I'm trying to recognize that weakness. And even if my Solana targets are astronomically high, or even if my targets are, you know, fair enough to a lot of people, and I think it'll reach those targets, I still will be selling before it reaches those targets to an extent, to make sure to counteract my crazy bullishness and crazy optimism that I naturally have. So recognize your weakness in this as well. If you're a bit of a sheep in the fact, like, I'm a pig, so there's different kind of investing styles. There's people who are pigs who are a bit greedy. There's people who are sheep who are a bit timid and who will sell too early. If they'll see a nice 50% profit, they'll sell it all and maybe try and buy back in lower. We will be happy with a small gain, but leave a huge amount on the table. So that's two particular weaknesses, if you can try and recognize what you might be. Other weaknesses are just bears in general and bulls in general. So you want to be able to balance it and be objective in your targets as well. So what we're going to use to be able to come up with price targets for Solana is the Solana dominance of the entire crypto market cap. So right now we can see Solana dominance is going absolutely crazy, all-time highs, and it's almost approaching 4% right now. So keep that number in your mind. Right now, Solana dominance is almost 4% of the entire crypto market cap. And as a reference, we can see the Ethereum dominance right now is 12.5% and has been pretty much dumping. But we can see in the last bull cycle, or even in 2018, it was like 25% on average. And in the last bull cycle, it spent a lot of time at about 20%. So just keep those numbers in mind when we're trying to determine what the Solana dominance could get to in this cycle, because I do think it's going to continue higher and reach higher than 4%. So just keep in mind that Ethereum has reached 20% in the last cycle. And if Solana catches up with Ethereum and displaces Ethereum, I don't think that's fully likely in the cycle, but just to keep it in the back of your mind that this is what's possible. So this is the chart I made like, what, a year ago or something. The price of Solana was $28, would you believe, at the time, and the price of Ethereum was 2,000. So I just kind of, you can see on the left there, so there's the Ethereum column, and then there's the Solana column. So we can see the price of Ethereum was 2,000, the market cap was 233 billion. So I put some estimates then of price of Ethereum being 8,000 in a, you know, somewhat bullish case. at the price of Ethereum reaching 15,000 in a really bullish case, and the price of Ethereum reaching 40,000 in a hyper bullish case. Now things have changed, and I don't think Ethereum's going to reach these price targets. I think 8,000 would be a great price target for Ethereum to reach. And on the very far axis, on the right axis, you can see the Sol ETH ratio. So this is just a ratio of the price of Sol versus ETH, not the market caps. So the ones in yellow are the Sol ETH price. And as you can see at the time, the Sol ETH price was 0.014, which is crazy when you think about it now, because that's 0.07 now. So it's gone almost 5x since then versus Ethereum. So at the time, I thought a very bullish scenario was Solana to reach 0.1 ETH. And that's why that's like the bullish scenario. So in these scenarios, the first price target was Ethereum to reach $8,000 and the Sol ETH target to reach 0.03. So like a doubling from where it was. And obviously that's been smashed. The next one was price of Ethereum to reach 15,000 and the Sol ETH price to reach 0.1, which I think is the Sol ETH price should reach 0.1 at some point, but I'm not convinced the Ethereum price is going to reach 15,000. So that's where I was a little bit wrong at this point. The problem with this at the time was that I was too bullish on Ethereum, and I didn't think Solana would actually impact Ethereum's price so much and take away market share from Ethereum so much. And I thought we'd get a kind of a normal cycle where Ethereum performs better than Bitcoin. And that's just not happened so far. But yeah, the targets for the Sol ETH price were probably potentially a little bit too low, but the targets for the Ethereum price were too high. So let's move on to this more updated chart using the entire crypto market cap and Solana's dominance of that entire market cap. So first we have to kind of estimate, where do we think the total market cap of crypto is going to go in this cycle? So that's the second column in this chart. So the current market cap is 3.1 trillion. So these are in billions. The good case scenario, the bearish scenario where we top out would be 4,000 on the total crypto market cap. And that would put a top for Bitcoin around 120,000. And then I did average would be 5,500. And that would equate to 160,000 for Bitcoin. And I think that would be like an average, a good market, but like not particularly crazy. A decent Bitcoin price is 190,000. And that would be a 7 trillion crypto market, total market cap. And next, in a bullish scenario, we have Bitcoin going to 225,000 and the total crypto market cap going to 8.5 trillion. And in the super bullish scenario, the total crypto market cap going to 10 trillion. And potentially it could even go higher than this, but let's not get carried away. Let's not get too crazy. But that would be like roughly a $265,000 Bitcoin. And what does this signal for the price of Solana? So right now the Solana dominance is actually 3.88, but I haven't updated for the new Sol price right now, which is like 250 anyway. I also will say I was too lazy to incorporate inflation in this, so you can knock off, say 5% is how much Solana will inflate over the next year or something, but 5% when you're dealing with multiples isn't a big deal. And if you stake your Solana, that you don't even feel that anyway. So sorry for being that lazy, but I don't care. But right now the Solana dominance is 3.5% on a circulating market cap. Could it get, in a bearish scenario, it get to 4%, average scenario gets to 5%, decent scenario gets to 6.5%, bullish scenario gets to 8%, super bullish scenario it gets to 10%. And this gives us a Solana price right now is obviously 240. In a bearish sense, it would top out at 336, average 578, decent 956, bullish 1,400, super bullish just over 2K. And I've kind of circled somewhere in between the average and decent of, like, let's say 600 to 1,000, in my personal opinion, is the most likely area that Solana will top. So how do we go about exiting with having this in mind? So there's a nice little strategy that I use, which is setting stop losses as your price targets are hit. So that kind of saves you a bit on the downside, but maximizes your upside. So like I said, in a bearish scenario, we've kind of calculated that we think in a bearish scenario, Solana gets to $330 and that's where it tops out. Now, we do have to remember that we're dealing here, like the Solana dominance could actually go higher and the crypto market cap could not maybe get as high as some of these. So like, that's why there's such a big drastic difference between the super bullish and the bearish outcomes, because we're basically multiplying increasing Solana dominance with an increasing crypto market cap. But, you know, if the crypto market cap goes up loads, doesn't necessarily mean the Solana dominance will also go up as much, or vice versa. So just keep that in mind, that potentially that's why we'll be somewhere in the middle of this range, in my opinion. I think $500 would be amazing for Solana. Somewhere in the range of 600 to 1,000 would be super, you know, probably a nice place to start exiting. How do you actually go about exiting? So there's two ways you can do it. In my opinion, or my method, how I'm going to do it is time-based exits as well as price-based exits. So time-based exits is saying like, okay, during the course of 2025, if Bitcoin is above all-time high, I'm going to sell every week a certain amount, or every month a certain amount for the entire of 2025, or starting in late 2024 all the way through 2025, and I want to be fully out of the market by 2025. That's kind of time based exiting, and it's not really based on price whatsoever. And the other one is based on price, so we're going to kind of use a mixture of both. So the other thing I will say is, you know, during the bear markets, I was DCAing, like, let's say $1,000 a month into crypto, $1,000 per month. Now in the bull market, you might say, okay, I've made a 10x return, I'm going to sell 10 grand per month, and that'll be nice and balanced. However, a better strategy than doing that, like, that's a good way to do it in the bear market, because you're buying more Solana as the price goes down. But in a bull market, you're actually selling less Solana as the price goes up. So what you actually want to do is sell the same amount of Solana at every price, or even sell more Solana as the price gets higher. So when the price is low, you want to sell a small amount of Solana, but as the price gets higher, you want to sell a better strategy than selling, let's say, 10 grand per month of Solana, or 1 grand per month of Solana, is to say, okay, I'm going to sell 1 Solana per week. But an even better strategy is to say, okay, I'm going to sell half of Solana when it's this price, and I'm going to sell 1.5 Solana or 2 Solana once it's this price, or 4 Solana per week once it's that price, or once it's above this price. So you're actually selling way more. When Solana price is low, you're probably just selling like, you know, $100, 0.1 Solana. But when the price is high, you're selling like, I don't know, a couple of grand worth of Solana. So that's a way better, it's like a DCA out on steroids. So once Solana starts to reach my bearish, like once it goes above my bearish price target, that's when I'm going to start setting stop losses. Say it gets to 336, I won't sell it straight away, or I'll let it keep going, and I'll set a stop loss at 300. So then if it keeps going, I haven't actually sold anything yet, and then it reaches my next price target, I'm going to set another stop loss, but I'm also going to bring up my original stop loss. So say it goes up to 420 and my original stop loss was 300. I'm going to bring up my stop loss now to 400, and I'm going to add a new stop loss at 400. So now my average exit price is 400, rather than selling straight away at 300 once it reached 300. And you can do this all the way up. So yeah, sometimes you're going to get wicked down and your stop loss is going to hit and it's going to go back up. That's going to happen, but at least you gave yourself more of a chance of exiting at a higher price. So for me personally, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use a combination of both the time-based selling as well as the price-based selling. So I'm going to be selling throughout probably all of 2025, as long as the price of Solana is, you know, above my targets. If it's not above my targets, I might not sell, or I might not sell as much. So I'm going to use a combination of that, and how I will determine how much to sell is going to be mostly based on the price, but also based on other top signals. So if there's loads and loads of top signals firing, I'm going to be a bit more worried. I'm going to be selling more Solana at that time. Now, obviously that's like kind of firing from the hip, and that's kind of, needing a bit of intuition to know when exactly to sell. So if you're a bit more of a noob and you don't trust your instincts and you don't trust your emotions, which is probably a smart thing to do, then you need to actually just write down the exact figures and the exact amounts that you want to sell at a certain price and determine them. Like I said, sell more Solana as the price of Solana goes up. Don't just sell more dollars worth of Solana, sell more Solana as the price goes up is the best way in my personal opinion. And you don't want to sell all your Solana at a certain price, because in a very, very bullish scenario and Solana does get to 2,000 and you've already sold it all at $500, you're actually going to be really, really annoyed with yourself. So that's kind of the other strategy, the time-based strategy, that like potentially even the bull market runs all the way into 2026 and you have no exposure at that point. That's why the time-based strategy helps, but it's harder to DCA out of in crypto than it is to DCA in, because the pumps are shorter lived. So that's why you also need the price-based exiting. So if Solana just randomly rips up to 2K, at that point you probably want to just full stack it all at that point. You know, you want to just be like, okay, that's enough gains for me, I'm happy with that. Or if Solana gets to 1,500, like some of these crazy bullish targets, which I do think are actually possible. Like obviously I'm a crazy Solana bull, but I don't like, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that the total crypto market cap gets to 10 trillion. It's obviously a bullish scenario, but it's very possible. It could even go up to like 15 trillion in a like extreme scenario this cycle, which, you know, that would put like Bitcoin at like 300 or 350,000. It's possible. And I do think the Solana dominance could easily get to 10%. We saw Ethereum dominance get to 20% in the last bull cycle. So I do think these higher price targets are actually possible. So that's why you don't want to sell all your Solana on the way up. You want to have that time to be able to exit as well, in case like it goes higher than you expect. So you're not going to be able to sell all your Solana at the perfect price. You're probably going to be annoyed no matter what happens that you didn't sell enough or that you sold too soon. But at the very least, you will come out with really, really great profits, and that's what I'm trying to help you here with. And like I said, I don't think it's the end of the world if you end up with Solana at the end of the bull market. I do think Solana will survive into the next cycle. It's already survived a couple of cycles, and unless some new blockchain comes along that, I don't know, wipes your ass for you, I don't think Solana is getting disrupted anytime soon. I'm pretty confident Solana has a good chance to remain one of the top smart contract platforms. So if you haven't sold all your Solana by the end of the bull cycle, say you've only sold 70% of it, and by the time there was a huge crash and you didn't get to exit Solana at a good price, you can just hold that last 30% and ride it into the next bull market. And the same thing goes with Bitcoin. It's fine if you don't sell all your Bitcoin in the bull market. You can hold it through a cycle, in my opinion. You can hold some of it through a cycle, in my opinion, and be pretty confident. With Bitcoin especially, obviously, you can be pretty confident that's going to break all-time highs again at some point. With Solana, I don't know, 50-50 on that as well. However, with everything else, you probably need to dump it all by the end of 2025, in my opinion. So just to reiterate, we see the most likely price target is going to be somewhere between 578 and 956, and that's the area where you want to probably be selling the majority of your Solana. But you also do want to potentially keep a moon bag in case it gets to those crazy astronomical targets of 1,000, over 1,000, which, you know, maybe it will give like a 20 to 30% probability that it can break 1,000. Yeah, personally just going to be selling all through 2025 when the price is really high, when there's a lot of top signals. And if you want to help yourself identify top signals, I did a full video on that in my course if you want to check that out. But yeah, if top signals are going crazy, prices are astronomical, yeah, you definitely want to be scaling out faster. And that's what I'm going to try and do in this cycle. And if you want to know exactly when I make every single trade, every single sell, you can join my private cabal, which comes along with the course as well, if you want that. Now, yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, join my free Telegram in the description as well if you want to join my community. Thanks for watching. Bye.